Come on in. Let's get busy, my friends. We are all here. I have clean hair, I'm happy to report, clean clothes, a clean body. Electricity is back on. You can tell I've got my little lamp on over here. It's all good in the hood. You know what? I'm going to tell you something right now that I didn't start to get upset until yesterday. And yesterday in the afternoon, I had just about enough. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Laura. Good to see everybody. Yeah, it's we don't take we take it for granted sometimes. Yes, we do. But we also, on the other hand, we find ourselves in the place of just being so, especially right now when we're all just inside all the time. These things are important. This hot water, this electricity, this water period, all important stuff. And I will tell you, I'm really happy to have water back. Hi, Susan. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. Trish is in the house. Hi, guys. Good to see you. Happy Thursday. It's Thirsty Thursday. Where is everybody? Let's bring them on in. Come on in. Come on in. Day -2. Yep. Day -2 for full bloom on Saturday. Are you ready for it? I'm not ready for it. I'm the one doing it, and I'm not ready. I keep going over everything and making sure that everything is just so. And, it's going to be a little bit of a crapshoot. Let's just say this. We are going to be very solely relying on technology, solely relying on making all of this happen. And, we're just going to have a whole lot of grace for this. Right? Hi, Tay. Hi, Catherine. Diane, good to see you. Alice is in the house. Good to see you, Alice. One of my Take Back Your Lifers. Got a few of them in. That's good. Yay. You're all here. And Tammy's here too. Good to see you, Tammy. Yeah, I hope today's message resonates with you a little bit, because for me, it's just been something that I have been thinking about a lot lately. Talking about grace, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm not going to give you a sermon on it for sure. Grace has always been one of those things that I have, one of the sermons that I've always loved, is having a wonderful, it's just God's unmerited favor toward us for, whatever. But I'm not going to be talking about so much God's grace to us, as much as I'm going to be talking about our grace toward ourselves, because I think we need to have a big fat dose of that right now. Don't you think? Amen. All right. So as you know, today's Thursday, and we're thirsty, aren't we? We are thirsty for knowledge. We're thirsty for being together. We're thirsty for connection. We're thirsty for all kinds of things. And as a matter of fact, if you are part of our Hot Milk Club, we're thirsty for water. We're going to be talking hydration and electrolytes at the 2:00 hour here. I'm really excited about that. I've got some good stuff for you. So make sure, if you're part of the Hot Milk Club, to hop into our clubhouse, because we are going to get down to business and talk about our natural thirst and electrolytes and water and all that. So it's going to be fun. So there's that, number one. Number two, it's not too late. You can join us on Saturday. It's a virtual event. It's called Full Bloom, and it's about living your very best life at this point in your life, even when you maybe have previously thought of yourself as being invisible and too old or too this or too that. And I want to say no. I want to grab every single woman by the collar and say, it's your time, because it's your time, I hear so much talk about legacies and leaving a legacy, and I say I want to live a legacy. And that's what this whole thing is about. And it's about finding our mission, finding our purpose, finding our calling. I don't care where you are. I don't care how old you are. This is a workshop for you. And we have hot seats. We have a virtual swag bag. We have all kinds of things that are going to be happening. And it's going to be fantastic. It's a whole day. It starts at 9 a.m. We're going to end around 5:30 or so. And I'm sorry to the West Coasters. Yeah, that means 6 o'clock in the morning. And all I can say is, girlfriends, get your coffee on. So there you go. Gemma said she thought you would move the event to another weekend. I am going to move to another weekend, probably in the fall. If, we don't know what's happening right now. So right now we're having a virtual event and we're having it on the same original date, which was April 18th. So anyway, Saturday the 18th. If you want information about that, go to savingdinner.com/Bloom. If you're attending Bloom, share this with your friends. If you have friends that you think this is just really going to be something for them, then you know what? Bring them on in. I can't wait for it either. It's going to be great. All right. Also, I came up with this idea, and I talked to my daughter about it, to do a bake-off. I said the Great Pandemic Bake-Off, because she's been baking sourdough bread, and everybody I know has been baking something or baking this and baking that, and it's been kind of crazy. Then I was talking to Marla about it, and she goes, let's do a cook-off, because then there are so many people who couldn't, who can't bake and don't want to bake, but they can cook. And so we're figuring it out. It's called Let's Stay In Cook-Off. She said, let's take the word pandemic out. It's too negative. And I said, fine, whatever. So what we're going to do is just have you post pictures. You post them here on Saving Dinner. You can post them over on Marla's pages. You can post them. Just post them here on our pages and tell us what it is, what you're posting, what your recipe is, and what your category is. You can make up your own category if you want to. So anyway, that's what we're doing. And we are, we're just crazy women who say, hey, it's time to just do something fun. So why not, right? Why not? I'll give you more information as we get it, but we have absolutely no idea what we're doing. It's just a silly, goofy thing. What do you think? Somebody was asking about Bloom. Bloom is going to be completely 100% recorded. If you cannot make it on Saturday, you can attend it when it's convenient for you, and we will send you the replay. You just have to go to savingdinner.com/Bloom. And we're going to go through this. You're going to be nurtured and cared for there. You're going to be connected with a community. There's going to be a lot of love in the room, even though we're doing it virtually. It's just going to be something that is something to behold. I know the quality of the women that are there. Most of them, a lot of them, are in my coaching programs. And I am telling you, you are going to want to connect with these gals because they're incredible. So Linda Brooks. Hi, Linda. Good to see you. Somebody made my tuna casserole. Alice made my tuna casserole. Well, speaking of grace, that's my tuna casserole is all about grace, okay? And I have to say, ever since I won that very first cooking contest way back in the 90s, which basically started my cookbook career, which started me into everything else and started me doing the menu planning. And that's when, I started that whole thing, you guys, and it just wasn't a thing. And now it's all a thing. And I think that's kind of cool. But I also want to say this, you have to, if you eat real food, you've got to make some, that you're going to make something for dinner, right? You're going to figure it out. And sometimes what you're going to make for dinner isn't going to be so good for you. And sometimes what you're going to make for dinner is just going to be on the top shelf. And I'll tell you something. That's what this whole pandemic has brought into mind, because my world's been rocked. So is yours. And what I thought was so easy and such habit and such whatever has proven not to be such the case, especially when you have old addictions, old habits, old stuff from way back when. Have you noticed that in times like this, and this is unprecedented, of course, but in times like this, old stuff just really rises up. And this is why I want to talk about grace today, because grace is something that, if you're not giving yourself a whole heaping tablespoon, cupful, whatever, all over yourself, then you are not giving yourself what you need right now, right? We're not going to beat you up. We're going to give you grace. That's our thing. That's what we're all about. Because we're using James Clear, has his quote of the week. And of course, I've got everything backwards. I forgot to flip the thingy. I always do. Ultimately, the only way to be in control of your life is to be in control of your thoughts. That's the brilliant James Clear. That's the brilliant James Clear. Getting in control of your thoughts is easier said than done, isn't it? Have you ever noticed that? Have you had a runaway train of thoughts, and before you know it, you're sliding down that hill. You're going far down, and you're feeling bad, and you're feeling outside of yourself, and you're feeling like, oh no, everything is completely out of control. I just want to tell you that I understand, because I'm you. I'm there. I'm with you. And as much as I read, I have my morning rituals, and I do all of my things, there are minutes and times where it's just, I have to almost grab myself by the scruff of the neck. We're all in the same place, and it's emotions that have come up that I didn't know that I had, or that are still here. And what this is doing is, this is a refiner's fire, you guys. This is it. We are pottery, and we're in the fire. And some of us are going to come out cracked. I know I'm a cracked pot. And some of us are going to come out more beautiful than before. It's transformational what happens in that fire. And so, when I talk about this stuff, and when we're going to be talking about how this whole thing is, how this whole grace thing works, we have to look at it from our own, very own perspective. The grace that I'm looking for and the grace that I need in my life might not be the same grace that you need in your life. And we have to stop comparing ourselves. Have you noticed that when we compare ourselves to others, that comparison is the thief of joy? It takes everything away. It takes away the stuff that we had joy with, because our house isn't as fill in the blank as theirs, or you don't have this and they have that, or whatever it is. I found myself doing this because I was looking at, some friends in my wellness circle, and they've just it's like boom, boom, boom. They've got it. It's just like, no big deal. It's fantastic. This is good. My life is this. My life is that. I just made a little adjustment here. And I'm thinking, man, I got a shower today. I feel good about myself. I got a shower. I was able to, and then when, so pandemic, and then we have that big storm, and we have the hurricane or the tornado watch at 3:30 in the morning going off, woo woo all over the place, and all of that. And then not having electricity until last night, and not having water. It just kind of brings everything into perspective, and you start to think in terms of just micro doing, micro steps. Just can I just make this one thing a little bit better? So anyway, I'm already off on a wild tangent, right? We've got some things, though. If I'm telling you, one of the things that I have that grounds me, and those are the things I would talk about, when we're talking about grace today. What are the things that ground you, Because grace is so incredibly important, and being grounded and feeling secure, having anchors. We've talked about that before, the security of that whole thing. Tea time for me is a grounding thing. And way before Marla started tea time, and we had tea time, years and years ago. I grew up with a British father, and so we would have tea time on occasion. Having tea is a grounding thing, because it's a moment. It stops. Everything stops, and you think. And speaking of Wise Women's Tea, which is this little bag right here, of course it's called Wise Women's Tea, right? You got green tea, black tea, and bergamot. You throw that in your cart, and we will ship it free to you as long as you live in the United States. It says ships free in the little promo window, and you can throw anything you want in there. We got lots and lots and lots of supplements down there. So we've got chocolate, we've got L-glutamine's coming in today, Just Juiced Veggies is coming in today. We've got a lot of stuff that is all starting to come in. And so let me just say this, grab it, fill it up, put in this tea, and you will get it shipped free. You spend over $100, guess what? I'm going to send you a mindful mug from me, because I love you and I appreciate you. And just remember, anytime you're purchasing something from me, you are purchasing from a small woman-owned business, and you're supporting us. And right now it's more important than ever. And especially, I have to say a big thank you to all of our Dinner Answers supporters. They're amazing. We've lowered our price to $7 a month, and we give you menus, recipes, shopping lists every Tuesday, no matter how you eat, with a custom shopping list, the whole bit. And we appreciate everybody who has jumped on to, support us, because it is supporting us. You're supporting me. You're supporting Jenny. You're supporting Tina. You're supporting Mark. You're supporting our team. We're all in this, and Danny. Anyway, ships free. Don't forget that promo code. When you put the T in and everything else that you put in there, you put ships free, and the shipping's on us. We'll pay for it. Let's see, what else do we have? And the only other thing that I want to tell you is that I want you to get yourself to the full bloom, because this Saturday is a Saturday of connection. It's a Saturday of amazing time with women who are above and beyond, and women that I always care about and just adore. So I can't wait. I just can't wait. We did not get our check. No, somebody was asking if we got our check. We applied. We did not get our check. And then today we hear that they've run out of money. So there you go. Isn't that special? So yeah, we did not get it. I don't, you do what you can. And I am fully relying on God. I am fully relying on my community. I am fully relying on that. I know that life is always working out on my behalf. Have you heard me say that before? Life is always working out on my behalf. I believe that with all of my heart. And I believe I've been called to do the work that I do. I believe that everything that I do is by God's calling. And so therefore, he's not going to leave me high and dry. I'm going to let you know, I'm being bone honest with you and letting you know how important your support is, because it is. And I'm going to continue working my tailbone off to help support you, to help you to become the best version of yourself that you can be, to help you in the kitchen, to help you with your nutrition, to help you. That's my calling. And my heart is, and I will tell you, when I get on these coaching calls and I sit there one-on-one and eyeball to eyeball with each one of my coaching clients, it fills my heart. And half the time I get off the phone and I have tears coming down my face, just because of making that connection and being able to know where their hearts are. And, I believe in divine providence. I believe in divine appointments. And I believe God has appointed us for such a time as this. I don't understand it one itty little bit. I'm not going to pretend to. And I get so aggravated when I watch this garbage show on Facebook with everybody with all their conspiracy theories and with all this and, well, what about that? And well, blah, 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 Nancy Pelosi, blah, 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 Trump, on and on. And I want to scream at everybody and tell them to shut up. And you know what I want to say? Shut up and start listening for God's guidance for you, right? Turn off the talking heads, turn off all the stuff, quit making assumptions, and start praying for all these guys, man. I'll tell you, I don't agree with everything that's going on, but I'll tell you what, I am praying for every single person who is in leadership. Every single one of them. Don't agree with a whole lot of them. But it's not about me and what I agree to, or whatever. I'm just one person. You know what it's about? It's about my heart toward them, toward God, and being obedient to that. That's enough. That is enough. And that I can go with that. I can go with that. Still not going to make me love them. Still not going to make me say, hey, these guys are just like full on, No, I'm not. But you're also not going to hear me say a bunch of garbage about any of them. None of them. Because that's not my place. I could if I wanted to. And every once in a while I'll go nyeh, nyeh, a little bit because I see something and I say, that's just wrong. This is what it seems like anyway. But you know what I know that's right? You know what I know that's right? I know it's right to listen, to be called by God, and to pray without ceasing. We're told that. Pray without ceasing. Who are we going to pray for without ceasing for? We're going to pray without ceasing for the leadership around here in this world. We are going to pray for each other. We're going to pray with all of our hearts for our communities, for wellness, for people that we know that are ill. Right now, and here's the other thing, and I'm going to bring this up right now because I'm feeling it. So I have a friend, 37-year-old woman, she's a doctor, who right now is struggling for breath. She has COVID-19. She's in my wellness circle. Do you think she knows a thing or two about all of this? She, she knows a thing or two about all of this. But there's all kinds of wellness shame going out there. People love to shame each other, food shaming, fat shaming, politics shaming. It goes on, religion shaming. What the heck? Ethnic shaming. It's on and on and on. We have this thing of one-upsmanship that is just off the chain. And I'm going to say something right now that's maybe going to sound a little bit weird. But you know what? The earth does not need us. It's proven it. It's starting to heal because we're not out there polluting it. You can watch anything. You can watch the Venice canals are full of life now. They weren't before. And if you've been to Venice, they can get stinky. It doesn't need us. And we need to be better visitors. We need to be better stewards of this earth. Treat it well. Love it back. Because it's not endless resources there. And if this sounds, tree huggery to you, so be it. But you look at this and you're thinking, they'd be fine without us, wouldn't they? They don't need a bunch of humans to just crap all over creation. And I'm sorry, but that's what we have been doing. We have been doing that. Why don't we treat the earth a little bit better? Why don't we start treating each other a little bit better? Why don't we start, instead of shaming each other, why don't we lift each other up? Why don't we look at each other with eyes of empathy and love and grace, for heaven's sakes? Because I don't know about you, but I sure as heck need it. And if I need it, I know you need it. It's time for us to all descend from the soapbox and start loving one another. We don't need somebody else yelling at us. We need somebody to hold our hands. We need connection. We need love. We need grace. And we need to give that to ourselves, and we surely need to give it to others. We have to stop this madness that's going on, because not only are we polluting the earth, we're polluting the airwaves. We're polluting each other's ears. We're polluting our minds with all of this trash. With all of this trash, we can be so much more loving if we would just stop for a minute and just take a look. There's so much there for us. We're so much there for us. And, isn't it funny? The other day, and it's just kind of a crazy thing. I took my welcome mat that says Home Sweet Home, by the way. I like the old timey thing. I took that out and I laid it out so that it could get dried. And I accidentally put it on top of these plants that got smashed. And they're the little pretty bells that are coming up, some kind of, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I took my mat and moved it, and I talked to my little bells, my little plants. And those little plants, they came back up. Now, I don't know if it was because they were listening to me, but I saw an experiment, I think it was on YouTube, of children who had a plant that they spoke lovingly to and another one that they yelled at. And they gave it each the same amount of sun, each the same amount of water. And guess what happened to the plant that was yelled at? It withered away and it didn't thrive. The one that was blessed and spoken to lovingly thrived. Now, think how much more so that's necessary for us. Think about that. Yes, lilies of the valley, exactly, Diana. Think about how much more we need that. We need that kind of grace, guys. Oh my gosh, we need that kind of grace. Because if a plant doesn't survive, doesn't thrive like that, think about us. We need to have a whole bunch of grace. So grace, those, if you've been to church and all of that, and I've certainly had my fair share of church, and I used to have a Christian radio show years and years ago. And one of the things that, I remember, I'd have pastors on, I'd have, celebrities and what have you on my show. It was at KBRT, Drive Time, in Southern California. If anybody ever heard of it, Heart of a Woman, back in the early 2000s. And, you know, unmerited favor. One of my favorite things, grace, is unmerited favor. I mean, how does anyone get grace other than from God? And how does anybody attain such a thing? And to me, the wonderful thing that I think about with grace is grace begats grace. It's unmerited, and it's a beautiful thing. And here's this amazing gift. The song Amazing Grace. If you've heard the song Amazing Grace, it, you know, if you could dwell on that and close your eyes and meditate to that song, it will make your heart swell. And to me, making your heart swell and having that feeling inside, that's empathy working on side of you. Empathy is part of our emotional IQ, by the way. The lack of empathy is the lack of an emotional IQ. So having that kind of, you know, that kind of graciousness to be able to feel so expansively it's a true test of your heart, and it's how we grow, and it's how we love, and it's how we are able to connect so beautifully and become the very best that we can. It's amazing how that whole thing works, and just that small seed of empathy just full bloom, right? Full bloom. Like those orchids and lilies behind me. Those are beautiful lilies, are from Amy, who's in Take Back Your Life, and she sent those to me. I mean, talk about a beautiful gift. That was gracious. That was amazing grace. But grace produces excellence in its own way. And you know, we've talked so much about perfectionism and excellence, but grace encourages excellence because you don't deserve grace. You get it anyway. And therefore, it encourages you to want to thereby give grace to someone else, thereby give grace to those around you, thereby be a vessel for empathy and a vessel for love and grace, and be abundant and overfilling and just this constant flow. Can you feel that? It's a difference between having your mind set on one thing versus another. And if what we think about expands, can you imagine what happens to you if you are so stuck on stuff you can't control and that you've lost all feeling of grace? If we've put ourselves in the grace lane and we understand that it's unmerited favor that's been given to us not because we deserve it, but because we've opened ourselves to it, there is an overflowing abundance of love that comes out of that, and empathy, and all the good things that you can think of, and that just inspires us to be excellent. It also compels us to serve. I don't know about you, but when I'm in service and doing what I can to help, it makes me feel like there's purpose in my life. It makes me feel like I am helping somebody else to feel worthy or worthwhile. It makes me feel like there's a reason for my being. And it's not just me, it's you too, because we're all compelled to serve, aren't we, when we're working from this place of grace. And grace gives us the ability to do that. Grace gives us the ability to do it even when we're looking at it and saying, but I'm locked in this house, what do I do? Well, it's interesting to watch the creativity that has become the norm now. People have figured these things out. They're learning how to make face masks with bandanas and bread ties, for heaven's sakes. And they're doing things that are something that if you had told me 3-4 months ago that we'd be doing things like this, I would have never believed it. But look at what has happened because of it. Creativity has just blossomed in front of our eyes. And grace also gives us the ability to give something up for the good of somebody else. Have you seen this? I have seen this over and over and over again. People doing this for each other. People flying halfway across the country and living in New York City, where it's an epicenter, to go help and to serve in that community because they need help. Grace does that. It's not because you feel obligated. It's because you feel gracious. It's because of the empathy in one's heart. It's because that is who you have become. See, your emotional IQ added again. And it gives us the endurance as well to keep fighting. This is a good fight we're in. We are fighting to hold on to some sense of normalcy. Even though maybe our new normal has changed, we're still fighting to hold on. But we're also fighting for each other. We're fighting for connection. We're fighting for our communities. We're fighting for friendships and relationships. We're fighting for love. We're fighting for each other. We haven't stopped. And that is one of the most important things that we can do, because this is what holds us together as human beings. This is our glue. And we need this from each other, this kind of a grace. And, even when our own tenacity, we talked about being resilient and having how we have resilience in our spines and the tenacity to keep going. But there are times when that tenacity and that resilience just feels really faint and far away. But you know what keeps us together? It's the grace. The glue of grace keeps us together. And it holds us together, even when we feel like, I just don't even know what's next. And I was telling you this, Marla, I've cooked things that I haven't cooked in years. I have been eating things that I haven't eaten in years. And I'm really glad that flour and sugar are off the, you can't find them in the grocery store. Unfortunately, I don't go to the grocery store. That's something that Mark does. But I can see why everybody is baking, pies and stuff. I get it. It makes sense. And we fall into all of our old stuff too, don't we? Like, okay, because I've had food addiction problems. I've shared that before. But, I'm giving myself a whole lot of grace right now. I'm not exercising the way that I want to, and I'm using YouTube or whatever, but I'm just like, and not fully into it. But you know what it is? It's not about making it everything in the whole world excellent and doing everything right and having everything so well put together. It's not. It's about being able to take each day as it comes and live it as fully as you possibly can, and being gracious with yourself. A whole lot of graciousness. Because, where I am right now, I wake up each day and I think I get up and, just having that cup of coffee is enough for me right now. It's enough. But where I was, I think about 2 months ago, and it was just like, ba, 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 or 3 months ago, whatever it was, then when life was normal. And it's like, get up, get your stuff on, go to the gym, have your morning ritual, do the this and do the that. And a lot of that stuff has just kind of gone, I'm almost kind of still looking at everything a little bit stunned. Have you ever been driving down the road and then suddenly there's a raccoon in the middle of the road, or a dude, and they're just looking at you like this? I think we all feel like that right now. And that big truck coming with the lights on it, that's all the stuff that we've been going on. And we're still standing there in the middle of the road going, wow, this is crazy. But you know what it is? It's grace that's getting us through every single day. It's grace. And it is love. It is connection. And it's a whole lot of just holding on and allowing ourselves to feel what we need to feel, and some days I feel really good and some days I feel really bad. And I vowed to myself, when we had this whole storm on Sunday night and the electricity went out, and I said, well, I feel grateful. I've got a gas stove. I'm not going to complain. And I could light the match and do the gas stove. Marla got me these little light bulbs that had, batteries in it, and I put them all over the house. This isn't so bad. We got this. Then the next day we started thinking, what about all this food that we have? Because we have all these things. And so Mark went out and bought a generator, and, not money that we wanted to spend right now, but it was important, or we would have spent, hundreds of dollars and thrown it out in dead food. We didn't know how long this was going to last. Did my best with that. And then when the water went out on Tuesday night, that's when I was thinking, you know what, this is really sucking, because I needed a shower and everything. And I just gave myself a minute to grieve about the whole thing, And then I started thinking, well, you're acting so privileged, Leanne. What about people over here? You know, and there you go. And that's when you rob yourself of joy. You rob yourself of feeling what you need to feel because you start comparing yourself. So even if you're comparing yourself to somebody who's way less fortunate, the whole thing, the whole act of comparison robs you of joy, robs you of experiencing the thing you need to experience for that minute. And my understanding of all of this, just in my old age or whatever you want to say, is that if you can go through how it is that you're feeling and allow yourself to feel it and go through it and kind of break it down and expand a little bit with it, you can get through that whole thing. You know, nobody wants to go down the drain. But then again, if you know, you don't want to let yourself fall too far, but you also can't deny how it is that you feel. So there's a real, and that's where grace comes in, right? Because if I can give myself the grace to understand that, hey, it's okay. You lost your electricity for 3 days. Now there's no water. You haven't taken a shower since Sunday. And there's, you know, it's okay. And you're flushing toilets with water that came out of the water, the water heater. It's okay to not like it. Tomorrow it'll be a different day. And then the electricity came on and then the water came on and it was just like, oh, you know, hallelujah. But we have to give ourselves grace. And as we give ourselves grace, we give ourselves the ability to get through it. Because we know that at the end of the day, it's you know, we're going to get through it. That part's going to be over. That's just how it works. We fall onto grace, we fall back on grace, and we embrace grace as much as we possibly can. We're all humans. We're all on this planet doing the very best that we can with what we've got right now. And what we have right now is a lot of unknowns. But I know this, that we can control this little part of your world. You can control, and I can control as much as I can. And when I fall apart, grace is there to pick me up. And I know grace is there to pick you up as well. So, amen and amen. Bless you all, and thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Don't forget, if you want to be a supporter with Dinner Answers, we'll support you right back with many plans that however your family eats each and every Tuesday. Become a supporter for Saving Dinner and support a small women-owned business with our whole team. Go to savingdinner.com, click on Dinner Answers, it's right there, and you'll find out about it. It's an incredible program, $7 a month. I really appreciate all of you. And for those of you who I am going to see, I guess I'm going to see on Saturday, aren't I? For Full Bloom, I can't wait. I can't wait. If you want to find out about Full Bloom, go to savingdinner.com/bloom. Oh, and by the way, Caroline, my daughter, at 4 p.m. is doing Saving Dinner's cooking lessons, 4 p.m. Eastern. So check it out. She's really great. And the other thing is, help us out, help build our community, and share this video with all your friends. We love you guys, and I love you all, and I appreciate you all so much. You have no idea. You're the best. Peace.